Each time I stop by this stupid Robin's Donuts in Longlac, something happens. You see that exit over there? There's a B train. When the guy was turning, he just lost one of his pups, and it just sits there because his fifth wheel got unlocked, and it tore up his airlines, and it was just sitting there. And another guy parked right in front of me. Like, I don't know what people are thinking. Like, you know, I wake up in the middle of the night, there's a guy facing me 3 feet away. So the guy, I wanted to leave like a half an hour before sunrise, and but this guy was still sleeping.
Continue on Ontario 11 East for 209 kilometers.
My wheels are spinning. And then I saw this guy, the flashing lights. So I get up at 6 o'clock, and it's minus 30 Celsius. What the I'm telling you, I cannot wait to get out of here. This is a very bad area, very bad time of the year to be trucking here. So now it says it's minus 24, and actually, yeah, it doesn't feel that cold, but... And so I go grab a coffee, I play with my computer, I wait for these guys to wake up. Nothing happens, then I go grab another coffee, and finally it's already like 7:30. It already was getting light because the sunrise was at 7:55. Right? So I go knock on the guy's door, the guy who was parked in front of me. I said, hey, and he just raised the hand. He didn't even open the window. He just raised the hand, and then there was lots of space here because during the night it was a zoo, but again, trucks parked all over the place. So he just backed a little bit and then went like this, and he used the other exit. But for me, I'm so long, you know, it's very difficult with the Jeep to back. Like, I can back in a straight line, but when I have to do this, I cannot do it. It's too difficult. And so I went knock on the door of that guy with the broken pop. Say, hey, how long are you gonna be here? Is anybody's coming to fix your trailer? He says, yeah, somebody's coming to fix the airlines. And I said, would you mind moving your truck? Because you see, I said, this is my truck, you see over there? I said, I'm pretty long. I need the space where you parked in front of the trailer so I can make that turn. And he says, no problem. Some young kid. And I go around him, taking it very wide, and I get stuck. No, first off, I start going, I look in the mirror, my rear axle is not moving. The tires on the last axle are seized. I stop, I go back a little bit, same story. The rear tires don't move. So I hit my brakes a couple of times. I start driving, the tires start spinning. They just, because I lost the air over there. I lost the air during the night. I had to go there, and again, everything is covered. That control was covered in salty ice. I had to bring this handy instrument to chip away at the salt and ice, and then finally I was able to move that control to let the air back in. But because there was no air, the brakes got seized, right? But yeah, I did a couple of taps on the brakes, and the tires started moving. And then I try to turn like this, right in front of the trailer, and then I have to turn left, and of course there's a snowbank here, there's a trailer here. Like, why we're driving 60 kilometers an hour here? It's like there's a secret memo I'm not familiar with. I gotta pass this guy because it's not that slippery, and he's fully loaded. I don't know what the story is. Maybe he doesn't have power. So I get stuck in the snow. There's a big snowbank there, and I'm stuck, and the truck is in the middle of the road. I'm like, man, what do I do now? I go to look. Turns out it's not as bad as I thought. I didn't get in the bank like fully, it's just the front. My front was like maybe this much off the ground, and so there was a little hill in there, and so the front just buried itself in the snow. So I ran back to the truck, started the hydraulics. Of course the hydraulics is all frozen, so I started lifting the trailer. I was lifting like 1 millimeter an hour, so it took like 10 minutes to lift the trailer to the maximum. And then I backed a little bit and I went forward, didn't hit the trailer, made a super wide turn because there was a street there on the other side, so I could have used that street. Went like this, and all right, after this hill I'm passing this guy. "60 kilometers an hour. This guy is doing 40 miles an hour. Why did I let him go, right? So he was behind me. This freaking hill never ends. I cannot see anything in the front, so I cannot pass him. It keeps going up, 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 up. But if we drive 60 kilometers an hour, it'll take me a very long time to do. I want to do 800 kilometers today. Alright, there's a truck and then there's a car. Okay, truck. The car. And of course now he speeds up. Like, unbelievable. So no need to pass him now. He seems to be moving okay. I'm guessing he was afraid of the snow or something. Because there was a black guy. You know, black guys, usually they don't like snow, right? a small racial joke. in the morning. All right. If he can do 92 kilometers an hour, then we're not gonna pass him. But if he cannot do 92, then I'm sorry. So yeah, that was something, just to start the morning. And this, last time I was here, what, like a month ago, right? It's just the men's bathroom at this Robin's Donuts. Like, I think it's like a third country, you know, third world country. The door to the stall, there's no latch. So you go in there, you have to hold the door either with your foot or with your hand. It's like, I asked him last time, I said, hey guys, when are you gonna put the latch on the door? Oh, people, we put it and people keep breaking it. So yeah, now they just gave up. Pretty much, it's like India, you know, Pakistan, somewhere like rural area. At least one thing they did, I think they dropped the fee on the ATM because they don't take credit cards, they don't take debit cards, but there's a sign, a convenient sign on the door, ATM inside. And I think last time it was something crazy like $3.50. I remember I was complaining, but now it's $2.50. You know, $2.50 the fee. Then it's okay. So I took out 40 bucks, and I was able to buy. I was able to buy 2 coffees. And the lady said, so today's Monday. I said, when did it snow over here? Because it looks like the snow is pretty fresh. She said Thursday. So Thursday there was heavy snow. And then, so it probably took them 2 days to clean it. That's why it's still, but look how much the bank is huge from the snowplow, right? Where the snowplow was lifting it. Okay, the B train seems to be moving slightly faster than me. That's good. Because yeah, I don't want to pass him, because if he's doing 90, let's say 95, like what's the point? I don't want to drive 95, it's still minus 26. What's my fuel consumption here? 87 liters. What? 86. Well, it's because I idled all night. Yeah, because during the night I checked the forecast. It said at 2 a.m. it will be minus 32 Celsius, which is like what, 28 F? And so I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Truck, I have to idle you. And I don't like doing that because I could feel how in the morning when I turn off the cruise control, you know, to go from high idle to low idle, it doesn't want to do that. Because the, you know, the DPF filter doesn't like it when you idle. Because it's trying to clean your exhaust. And so idling is really bad for these engines. And I think they told me that usually it's like year 3 or 4. I haven't cleaned my DPF once. I think they just, all they did was like regeneration. But usually after like 3 or 4 years, you have to clean it. And it's a pretty expensive procedure to clean the filter. And then after a couple of cleanings, when it's no longer can be cleaned, you need a new one. You need a new DPF filter. And I think it's like 3,000 bucks or something. So I'll probably sell the truck before I need a new filter. Because as I mentioned, this truck is now worth just slightly less than what I paid for it, because of all the shortages and quotas with Cummins engines. Like, you cannot buy a Cummins engine in Ontario. At least that's what my local Kenworth dealer told me. That's it. So if you're buying a truck like this, you can only put a Packard 13 liter in it for the remainder of the year. Oh, and the lady at Robin's Donuts, she said over here somewhere, she said 50 kilometers west of Longlac, there was like a pile-up. Either, she said, 7 or 9 trucks. Which is not surprising, because look at this. This is pretty much what I saw yesterday, right? And at this cold temperatures, it can be slippery. I still cannot believe it that I was able to get out of that truck stop, you know? But I did walk around. I didn't just drive blindly, you know? I went to the truck with the broken pop, right? I walked around, I looked at the angles and how much space, and then I saw the street on the opposite side. I thought, okay, I can use that street entrance to make my turn wider. And then I realized I still needed the guy to move his truck, because I was afraid his truck was disabled, you know? And I said, are your wheels blocked? Can you drive? He says, oh yeah, I can drive. And so he moves forward. Without that, I wouldn't be able to turn that wide, you know, with him in the front. But by the way, that's a trick. I think it happened to me once, in winter especially, when, you know, the oil is cold, the grease on the fifth wheel is cold, everything is cold. You have to make sure when you hook up to the trailer, you have to put your hand on the fifth wheel lock and push it in. Make sure it's fully in. I remember we had a bunch of accidents when I started working at the Challenger, and they even released a memo and did some training with people, because what happened was, and I had the same issue on my International, on the yellow International, like, you lock, right? You look in the back as they wanted to do. You check the jaws, they're locked. But what happens is that that handle sticks out like half an inch, you know? And if you look, like, just, you know, in passing, you will not notice that. And so it's not fully locked, even though it looks like it's in, but it's not to the extreme position, right? And so that's when it can unlock. So even though the jaws are locked, but there's nothing holding them, if your trailer starts pulling backwards, let's say on a corner, and that's what happened to me once. I was leaving a shipper when I was pulling a dry van with my International. No, wait a second. I didn't have the International until I left Challenger. Yeah, I was already at McKinnon, the one that went bankrupt after. That was my second job. And I joined them because I wanted to do a flatbed. But at first couple of months I pulled a dry van. And so I went to some kind of warehouse. I think it was somewhere in Pennsylvania. There was also snow everywhere. And I had to drop the trailer. Because, you know, some shippers, I don't know now, but back then with dry vans, they didn't want to, like, their safety rules were that they didn't allow people to drive the forklift inside the trailer from the warehouse if your truck was still attached. And so the rule was, like, you have to drop the trailer and just go, even like a couple of feet, as long as your trailer sits on the legs and not on the truck. And I understand that because, you know, so probably they had some accidents like that, right? When somebody decided the trailer was already empty and they started driving away with the forklift inside. You know, that would be a interesting surprise for the forklift operator, right? And so yeah, I dropped the trailer, and then they told me that I was all done, I can rehook. So I rehooked, and it was winter, and I look at the handle, but I did not know this little trick about pushing it in. So yeah, it was not a challenge. It was at that memo. It was at the McKinnon, I'm pretty sure. And so I start driving. Everything is good. I make one turn from the yard, from the warehouse yard, towards the side road. But then as I was attempting to make the turn from the side road onto the main street at the lights, all of a sudden I felt some movement, and the truck just sped up a little bit, and I look in the mirrors, and my trailer just slided off the fifth wheel. But lucky for me, it fell on my frame. It didn't fell all the way to the ground. Of course, there's legs, right? But if it goes all the way to the ground, it'll be very low. It's super hard to lift it when it's... I think I still had stuff in there. It was like a partial load that they took off at this warehouse. And so it fell on the frame. And again, I got lucky that the air lines and the brake lines just got extended, and they didn't break. And so I dropped the suspension on my truck, and then of course I had to lift the legs, and I was able to back under it, reconnect the lines, and drive away. And of course, from that moment I knew that you always have to basically, that's the lesson of today, boys and girls, always put your hand on the handle after the hookup and push it in to make sure it cannot go any further. But on this truck, actually, it's safer. This Kenworth is safer in this regard because I got two locks. I have the primary lock with the big handle, and then I have a smaller lock with the smaller handle. So if one of them is locked, the trailer is not going anywhere. Alright, so we are 181 clicks from Hearst. And this area can be pretty bad. So between Longlac and Hearst, even though it's pretty, you see there's no turns, like we're going straight, but, and the other area after Hearst, Hearst to Cochrane, in winter can also be bad. And actually I checked the forecast and they said snow is expected tomorrow in Longlac, so, or minus 25. Man, the summer is coming. All right, what do we have here? Fully tarped B-train, lumber, peat. Oh, as I was talking, there was a cool moment. I'm talking to that guy, you know, sitting at the exit with that broken B-train, right? And some bobtail Peterbilt pulls up, and I wasn't sure what the driver was doing. Was he leaving, or was he there to tow the trailer or something? But then the window opens, and there's a pretty girl inside, and she's smoking a cigarette, you know, like nice long nails, a cigarette, a pretty female in a Peterbilt. That made my morning. So that was, you know, classy truck with a classy girl. And she was saying something, I couldn't hear her, but she was like, you know, broke down in the middle of the road. and I just shrugged my shoulder. I said, what do you do? Stuff happens. No, I definitely have to pass this guy. He just doesn't know how to drive, you know? He's slowing down, he's picking up speed, and there's two guys behind me. But I need a straight stretch where I can see. And according to Google, it's relatively okay. We'll be here till Christmas. So yeah, that was a cool encounter. Alright, now the road's getting better. What's going on here? 61 liters per 100 kilometers. Man, I know if anybody from the army is watching this, they're real envious. You know, somebody who drives tanks, they wish they would have mileage like this. Let's go to 95 clicks an hour, which is 59. Otherwise that crazy guy will try to pass me again. But he tends to slow down on ice. Alright, now he got back. Good. We don't want the competition. I want all the road to myself. The freedom of the wild, wild west. Yeah, I thought I would be stuck at that parking area there till lunchtime, you know? So imagine the surprise, right? I keep waking up because I cannot sleep when the truck is idling. And all of a sudden at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. I see this truck in front of me just shut down, blocking me. Okay, and then I go to sleep thinking, okay, I'm gonna wake up this guy. And I'm thinking, what if he says basically F you, you know, and goes back to sleep? I'm guessing, okay, I'm gonna grab my hammer again, and we're gonna do some knocking. Knock, knock, knock. Knocking on the door. And maybe blow the horn, but basically I know that he wouldn't be able to sleep. And then in my mind I start thinking, okay, then a fight ensues, you know, we're fighting each other, you know? Get the truck out of here. F you. And then cops come, they arrest everybody, and I'm thinking, no, that's not the proper way. We're in Canada, we're peaceful people. And then at 3 in the morning, I raise my head from the bed just to see maybe the guy left. Of course, no luck, but now I see some flashing lights. What the heck? Like, I see flashing lights in this distance. The B train. I look closer. The guy sits there, separated from the... No, I didn't see that he was separated, but he sits there. I can see the truck, and his lights are flashing. And when I got for coffee at 6 a.m., I went to investigate. Went to look at the truck. And that's when I saw the broken airlines and his second trailer sitting in the middle of the road with emergency triangles. Yeah, that guy, the B train, as soon as he is on the ice and snow, he slows down. Like, he's loaded. Like, there's no slipping. I don't feel anything. Like, the road is pretty good, even though it looks scary. But I drove like this like for 2 hours yesterday from where? From Nipigon. It was like this. But like I said, the guy is probably maybe not used to this kind of weather. Like, I'm not used to it either, but oh, the Volvo guy passed him, so now he's behind me. So, but you saw that? In order to pass that guy, I had to take every bit of juice from my engine, you know, because you need at least, if you want to pass somebody quickly in a truck, you probably need like 20 clicks an hour difference, you know? Let's say if somebody's doing 90, you have to do 110. Otherwise you'll be going, you know, like forever. And there's always traffic, right? Always traffic happens. And so now I'm doing 95 clicks an hour, so 59. So for this guy to pass me, he has to do, I'm guessing 120. Unless we are somewhere on the... Oh, you see this? Look at this. See, the guy just went in the ditch. And the lady in Longlac, she was saying there was like 7 or 9 trucks somewhere here. But I don't know why there's no sand. There's no sand. If it snowed on Thursday, it should not be like this. They should have cleaned it. Like, they did clean it, right? But why nothing is melting? Okay, so next stop is Hearst. There's a Esso there. There's a Husky. Because each time I stop, I have to fill up. Last time I filled up in Nipigon, it was $1.67 per liter. I know usually Hearst is expensive. I'm telling you, I cannot wait to just park the truck and take a break. I checked my bank accounts this morning. I got the money. I can sit tight. I have money for the truck payment, and I have money for the insurance payment. I have money for my funky, fancy, loud exhaust system on the truck. Like, I already paid for the system, but I have money for the install. So it's gonna be in Buffalo tomorrow before 7. That's I keep tracking it, the exhaust kit. So the plan is to be home tomorrow night. And then Wednesday I'll drive the truck to my shop in Guelph and ask those British lads to change the batteries, fix the gasket under the hood. Don't know if they can do the top set, you know, the adjustment. If they can do, fine, I'll pay them to do the top set. If not, I'll ask them to drive the truck to the Kenworth. And then I'm gonna call the Uber, go back to Cambridge, pick up my car, and drive to the border. See, B trains, B trains, B trains. Because they can hold a lot of weight. These guys got lucky, no tarp, right? Just some concrete slabs. But quite often they have to tarp. The guy in the back is driving way too close. If I hit my brakes, he's gonna destroy my booster. Drive fast over here because it's still can have some slippery spots, right? Okay, now would be a good time to pass. It just I have a feeling, you know, as a trucker, right? As a trucker, you have a feeling. When the road is okay to pass. Because yeah, it's a pretty long stretch. Oh, and it's half empty, that's why. Half of his load fell off somewhere, so... No, I don't like 95 on this road. We're gonna slow down to 92 clicks an hour, 57. It'll also make it easier for these guys to pass me. But I don't think that Gray, what is it, Gray? I forgot the name of that. I know that company. That B train that I passed. But you know, in this kind of weather, I like driving slow. And you see that guy? The smoke is coming from both pipes. So they'll catch him sooner or later. Unless Volvo does it like that, but I don't think so. Should be just one pipe. Like, doesn't matter how many pipes you have outside, but only one pipe is usually connected to the emission system. And actually, I had a mischievous thought, you know, because I have a full-size pipe underneath. Like, if you look under my cab, I can see the left size pipe. It ends somewhere here where my transmission is, and it just cut, and there's like an oval or round cap on it, like a lid. And I thought, what would happen if I would take that lid off and just go to the exhaust shop and ask him to extend the pipe and hook it up? But then, of course, that's illegal, because what happens is that if I hook it up to the engine, all that gas will be bypassing the emissions. So only half of the gas will be going through the emission system, and half of the gas will be going straight into the air, which would make my emissions worse. So more dirt will be flying into the atmosphere. But on the other hand, my DPF filter would probably last 2 times longer. But I decided not to do it since, you know, my truck is all legal. I don't want to get into trouble with emissions police. Yeah, some guys left comments over there. How often do you clean the windshield? What's today? Today's Monday. No, not today. I clean it every Friday at 4 p.m. Now look at the sky. Like the sun is somewhere there, but you cannot see the sun. It's more like a moon behind the clouds. So these are not good clouds. It's definitely gonna snow. Here's another accident. Well, there was no truck, but somebody hit over here. Probably maybe fell over there in the ditch, but they removed it a long time ago. So the 2 guys finally passed me. The first, this guy was behind me, and the guy in the front was behind him. So that guy, it was a flatbed with some pipes, oversized load. The flatbed finally lost it because this guy couldn't pass me, and I'm driving slow, right? I'm not trying to make it difficult for them, but the pipe guy finally lost it, and there was a hill and there's a turn. It's clearly not a good spot to pass, and I couldn't believe it. He just pulled out from that guy, right? He was truck number 3. He pulled out in a blind spot, and just, like I said, that's what they do, you know, like the deer, you know, they wait, and then finally they lost it. They said, screw this, I'm passing no matter what. And I'm thinking, what is he gonna do if there's a and there's a hill, like you cannot see it? What he's gonna do if the guy comes on at 100 kilometers an hour from that direction? Like, you wouldn't even be able to stop, you know? Like, you see this? If somebody's here and you hit your brakes, the guy will just slam into you. And I had nowhere to go because these the snow shoulders are very small, right? There's definitely 3 trucks would not fit in here, and I don't want to go in the snow. So that guy is nuts. And so not only was there a hill, but there was a turn, like a blind turn, and that guy just decided to ask himself if he was lucky today. And that's how that over here, a very dangerous highway, because people drive like that, you know, very irresponsibly. But it's funny that the guy who was in the very back passed me before the guy who was after me. And that's exactly the problem. So some people don't know how to pass. He was sitting behind me for like, I don't know, 30 minutes. And then that's one side of the equation. Not enough experience. And the other side was the pipe guy who decided to just blindly go for it and hope for the best. And like, where do you go? Like, where do you go if there's a truck coming? You know, I understand if there was like a 3 lanes here, right? Then okay, somebody can go in the middle, but there's just 2 lanes. It would be bad. It would be a bad accident. So that's why it's better to let those guys go, you know, let them crash on their own. I never liked running in a convoy, you know, like if there's like 5-6 trucks, I try to slow down, and this is my favorite speed, you know, 91, 92 clicks an hour, so 56, 57. My needle on the RPM is between the green dots. That's my best fuel economy. So let's see, what am I doing now? 51.8 liters. It should dip below 50. I think that's what I was doing yesterday, 49, 48, because now the temperature is going up. Now it's minus 24. And I think I'm not gonna fuel up at the Esso in Hearst because I still have plenty of fuel, but I'm gonna fill up. There's a A.W. Burger place right when you turn the corner in Cochrane to go south on 11. And there's an A&W Burger inside a nice truck stop. And they have truck pumps in there, except I got stuck there a couple of times. But again, when I was loaded, like empty, I don't have a problem for some reason. But loaded, where there's a lot of weight on the trailer, the truck just gets stuck on ice very easy. And so that Cochrane will be my second stop. So stop number 1 is Hearst, H-E-A-R-S-T, Hearst, Ontario, where most people actually speak French. It's interesting because the Quebec border is right next to that location. That's traditional. There's many French-speaking people who live in Hearst, Ontario, even though it's Ontario, but most of them are bilingual. But all the locals, you know, it's kind of like their own little club. They go inside the restaurant, they all speak French. Ja, danke, oh, merci, oh, blini, pancakes, crepe. I remember one word, egg, no, earth or something like that. But usually, if I'm in a French-speaking country or part of Quebec where they don't speak English, they give me a menu. I just point at the picture, you know, like a dummy. This, I want this. So if the dish doesn't have a picture, I cannot order it because I have no idea what's inside, what's the ingredients. I just tell them no fromage. I think that's how you say it. Fromage, no cheese. There's an allergy. No fromage. Oui. Would you like a naked girl with that? At least that's what it sounds like when they ask you something. No, keep the naked girl in the kitchen. It's too cold here. So yeah, you see, no slipping. I don't have any warnings. Like the first thing when your wheels slip, when one of your wheels slip is your RPM goes up. You know, all of a sudden. Let's say you're driving and it's 1320 RPM, all of a sudden it's like 1500, 1600, you know? Because there's no traction, so the engine starts speeding up. That's what I learned. That's the first indication in my truck that I'm on ice. But you see, I'm driving with a cruise control. I'm just being careful, you know. Try to grab the pavement, at least with one wheel, when going up, because sometimes that's where it can get slippery. And you see, it's all dry vans. Dry vans or a reefer. It was a reefer. See that green light on the side of the trailer? That's a reefer. talked to the freight broker friend from Alberta yesterday. He says nowadays they want 10,000 bucks Canadian for a van to go from Western Canada to Toronto. In other words, before, I think, I don't remember how much it was, but basically, because of all those, like driver shortage, parts shortage, there's no trailers. He says he cannot find trucks. He has much more loads than trucks. There's a big shortage of trucks in Western Canada, but I'm different because I have a specialized trailer, right? Like I was saying yesterday, yeah, I wouldn't want to drive here with a load. I'm telling you. Oh, and I think I booked a load. A guy called yesterday. By the way, just for once, I'll give you guys an example how I go about pricing. So a guy calls. Just bookmark this video. It's gonna be important. A guy calls and says that somebody recommended me, right? I think I mentioned this, but I didn't talk about the numbers. So he says it's 200 miles from Pennsylvania to Quebec. I don't know, recently I started speaking French. Quebec, not Quebec, but Quebec. But that's how they say it, so. Quebec.
Where are you from? Not sure. I think the sign said Quebec. Do you speak English? No.
They all speak English. They just don't want to admit it. Because when they're home, guess what kind of music they listen to? They all listen to American music. Because you go into a French restaurant, right? And she's... And I said, je ne parle français. Basically, screw this. I don't speak French.
Would you like an English language menu?
Yes, ma'am. And so they all behave like nobody speaks English, right? And then there's a radio in the background. And what do you know? That radio station, French. And then half of the songs are in English. Like, wait, I thought you guys didn't speak English. Like, why are you listening to songs in English, right? So they all speak freaking English. Just you have to be nice about it. Don't start any drama. Oh, look at this. Nice. So anyway, so how I come up about pricing? First off, rule number 1. For heavy haul, again, I don't care about driving, reefer, logger, heavy haul. Every haul is a direct haul. There's no back haul, all right? Rule number 2, if the loaded miles is less than 500, you charge double. You charge a return trip. Like a guy called me a while back. Oh, I just, 270 miles from Ontario to Michigan. Okay. So he expects me to charge him for 270 miles. I said, no. Well, actually, I did charge him back then because I didn't know any better. And after that, I learned that this other company. So you always charge double. So 270, you don't charge for 270, you charge for 540. Right? And then the rate, you go usually by the weight. Like the first number of the weight, like ideally, let's say 75,000 pounds, you charge them $7.50 a mile. 60,000 pounds, you charge them $6 a mile. But if it's a light load, you want to get at least $4, and I'm talking US, of course. You want to get at least $4 on all miles. Right, so you count your miles to the shipper, loaded miles, back to your yard. And so this guy says, from PA to Quebec, he says, it's just 200 miles. So, okay, what's the machine? Oh, it's Cat 320. I run the miles from my yard to that town in PA, to Quebec. I can never find loads in Quebec. To my yard, it's 995 miles. So I said it would take me 3 days. 3 days, right? Because you have to load, unload, drive, so it's more than 2 days for sure. So 3 days, half of the week. And so if you know what you're charging a week, that's an easy recipe. You just, you know, divide your weekly, whatever you want to make in a week, you divide by 2, right? Or you go by the day, right? Like everybody, like, you know, approximately, like I know approximately how much I want a day, you know. So anyway, so I tell this guy 3 grand, and he says, is that how much you charge for 75,000 pounds? I said, wait, I thought you said Cat 320. He says, no, it's Cat 330, an excavator. And of course 330, that's like 75,000 pounds. I said, no, wait. Let's rewind. I said, if it's 75,000, I said, I want 4,000 bucks. Again, for him it's only 200 miles, the way he looks at it. For me it's 1,000 miles. I don't know, for my trailer I never can find loads in Quebec, so I would just waste 3 days on this load. Right, so I told him 4 grand US. And this guy is the seller. He's selling this excavator to somebody in Quebec. And he says, okay, let me talk to the buyer. I'll quote him like the entire thing, you know, the price of the excavator plus the freight, you know, my service. And he calls me back. He calls me back. And he says, the guy says it's okay. So it looks like they agreed on the price. So I'm guessing he quoted him, I don't know, let's say, you know, the excavator was, I don't know, 75,000. He probably quoted him 81,000 or something, or 79. And he said, that's all in. The excavator plus the delivery. I don't know if he took into account any taxes, because he would have to use a customs broker, right? Like some of these guys, they never moved it across the border. They think that Canada is part of the States. But you have to go through the export. I told him about the 72-hour rule. He had no clue. So I said, chances are you will need to use 2 brokers, 2 customs brokers, one for Canada, one for US. And I said, the driver, in this case me, will have to stop on the US side and stamp the paperwork, because it's export from US. And then I have to stop on the Canadian side and do the Canadian procedure. And I don't think he knew about this. But I know in Canada, when you're bringing a machine, you have to pay the sales tax at the border. Like if you are coming into Ontario, you have to pay 13% sales tax to the government. But of course, the thing is, the beauty is that if you are from Ontario, you get that money back, 100%. So I'm guessing he will have to charge, let's say that excavator 79,000 US. He would have to charge the customer like the tax for Quebec. I think it's either 14% or 12%. It's slightly different in Quebec. But then that guy will get it back. It's just the inconvenience of you have to pay it up front, right? It's a lot of money when the price is big, like in this case, you know, like 100 grand, you have to add $13,000. So even though you get it back eventually, but it's inconvenient, right? You have to have the money. If you don't have 13,000, let's say, with a 100 grand machine, you cannot bring it to Canada. But sometimes they do a trick, you know. Sometimes they claim the money before they bring the machine, and so the government pays you that 13,000, and then you can use it to to pay at the border. So anyway, that's how I came up with that number. So total miles, not the loaded miles. In this case, yeah, it was first of all, it was less than 500 miles, right? So I had to charge him a return trip. But in this case, because I would be loading in the middle of nowhere in Pennsylvania, that's why I had to charge him, you know, for this triangle. My yard to the shipper, then Quebec, and then Quebec back to my yard. That's how you do it. I said, unless you want to wait, and maybe you can find somebody like a Quebec-based carrier who just wants to get home. He'll probably be able to do it cheaper, right? Because let's say he's sitting somewhere in Baltimore, Maryland, you know, not too far from that place in Pennsylvania. He would just probably do it for, I don't know, maybe 10 bucks a mile, like $2,000, if he wants to get home, you know. But I said, you're calling me, I'm near Toronto. It's a lot of miles for me. So that's what shippers and brokers sometimes don't understand, you know. And like I said, I always hate the word only. Oh, it's only 200 miles. Oh, it's only 40,000 pounds. And I say, well, it's 200 miles for you, it's 1,000 miles for me. And if it's only 40,000 pounds, that means you don't want to pay a good rate. But I would still need permits. Because my truck, if I take off the Jeep and the booster, right, my empty weight with a quad is 60,000 pounds. So if your machine is 40,000, that means that I'll be at 100 grand pounds gross. So first off, it can only be one piece. It cannot be, let's say, 2 farm tractors. It can be only one piece, and I would need permits. Some states I might need a pilot. So anyway, that's why you always have to. It's not easy. It's pretty much sales. You know, when you're on your own, you're always negotiating. You're always selling. You know, like in real estate, they say ABC, always be closing. And that's what I like about this. I like this. I would be bored if I was just driving, you know, for somebody. Like a friend of mine was saying, maybe you should just sell your truck and trailer and go work for a heavy haul outfit. You know, if they pay you, like, you know, if they give you, because you have experience, maybe somebody will be, you know, eager to hire you and pay you a good salary, and then you don't have any responsibilities. I cannot do that. I'm so used to being independent. I like, this is really the freedom, you know, like the freedom of enterprise, of personal initiative, right? I have to find loads. I have to order permits. I have to research routes. I have to take care of the truck, even though I don't fix it myself. But I'm like the fleet manager, right? Like at the company, you know, the guy that you have to keep track of your annual inspections, you know. Let's say if something is wrong with the truck, you gotta make a note. Let's say now I want to change the. Now look at this guy. He's moving 80 kilometers an hour, trying to pass me at 92 kilometers an hour. And there's a pickup truck coming. No, SUV. Okay, let's see. Pickup truck or SUV? What do you guys think? I think it's either a pickup truck with a canopy or SUV. No, one pickup truck, one minivan. Oh, wow, I thought it was one vehicle. So that's what I wanted to tell you about the rates, and that's one of the couple of the principles I use, and I have a couple of calculators I created with the feedback from my freight broker friend in Alberta. So I can put in the miles and my charge per hour, and then I can play with the fuel price and my fuel mileage. Let's say in winter, right, like very bad mileage, and let's say I put, I don't know, 2 miles a gallon, or I can use liters, and then I can adjust the price, always make it a bit higher than what it really is, because you never know. Let's say now I think my calculator uses $1.75 per liter Canadian. Because yeah, I got one calculator in US dollars and one in Canadian dollars. And so for Canadian dollars, I use that one with Canadian brokers, because they really get agitated when you give them a quote in US currency. I remember one lady wrote, "Oh, look at you quoting in US dollars." You know, well, it's going into US. Most of the time I pay US dollars for fuel when I'm in the States, right? But they don't like it, so. And so if it's a Canadian broker, I quote them in Canadian. If it's a US broker, I quote them in US. And when I sign a rate confirmation, I always add a little abbreviation. You know, when they ask me to sign, right? So I always open the editing program, like the preview in on the Apple, and I type US funds. And the last guy was amused. Of course it's US funds, but because he's based in the States. But I said, like the Lanster guy. But I said, hey, I'm Canadian, right? So on the rate confirmation, you show my name, and then it has my Cambridge address. So I don't want to argue, you know, I'm not telling him that, but that's my reasoning. I don't want to argue with him, and after I deliver the load, that the guy will say, well, it was Canadian dollars. Because the difference can be as high as 30%, 30. So 10,000 Canadian, it's only 7,500 US. About to stop traffic, because look at that, on the left side there's a dry van in the snow, and I see a tow truck over there. So I just got lucky. So otherwise they would block the road now, because they'll try to get that guy out. Check this out. You see this? So the guy went like this. And he's still inside. Oh wow, look at that. He almost made it to the trees, but he got lucky, right? Otherwise he would smash the trees, but he probably damaged something like the bumper. Maybe something under the engine, if there was any brushes there, you know. So he was driving this way and he just went over there. Oh yeah, and of course he hit the snowbank. So yeah, he definitely damaged the hood. It was probably slippery over here. But you see, now the road is nice. I'm 47 clicks west of Hearst. The snow disappeared on the pavement. And on my left, to my left, I see a bunch of snowmobile tracks over here. A little bit on the right, but mostly on the left. Straight truck. In the front it said Mann. You know, the German man. So this is Hearst, Ontario. This was my first stop. I stop at the Esso. The restaurant is closed. I go inside. I said, guys, do you have any hot food? I was thinking about a burger. And she says, well, we have some in the fridge, we can warm them up. So I go look at the fridge, they have some double burgers, kind of like, you know, like a small hamburger, like a McDonald's, but with cheese. And like a pack was 10 bucks, but 2 double cheeseburgers. And I said, well, I'll get them as long as you can heat them up, but I'll have to take out the cheese. And they were all cold, so the cheese, you know, they're frozen, right? So the cheese was fairly easy to take off. And then I put them on a napkin, gave it to the lady. She put it in the microwave for 1 minute 30 seconds, and I got some nice burgers. I threw out the top bun, so I only had half a bun with the burgers were pretty small. I was trying to see if I could find like A&W, but there's nothing here. But where I'm going, my next stop is gonna be Cochrane, Ontario, and there's an A&W there. Right at the station, at the fuel truck stop. I mean, a fuel station. So the temperature keeps going up. Minus 17 now, Celsius. So 211 clicks. It'll take me definitely more than 2 hours, so probably 2.5 hours. I should be there around 2 p.m. local time. Time now is 11:20. It's a 1:45 Eastern time, which is local here, and I only made it to Cochrane, Ontario, and the needle on the main tank just went over half, so just less than 50%. So I can be okay till North Bay, but it'll be tight, so I want to get maybe, I don't know, 200 liters, and I can do it either here in Cochrane or I can do it at the next stop, which is New Liskeard. The question is, where is it cheaper? I have no idea. I checked the tracker path, but quite often they don't list fuel prices for Canadian stations, for Canadian truck stops, and sometimes it's confusing. You don't know, do they list them in dollars per liter, US dollars per liter, or Canadian dollars per liter, or US dollars per gallon? Is that a cop on the left? No, I think it's actually, yeah, it is. It's carrier enforcement. See over here, it's 70 kilometers an hour. So I'm guessing he's watching somebody coming from here. And why he's sitting here is because there's a truck inspection station here. But most of the time it's closed. Oh yeah, it's the one around the corner. Yeah, before I used to stop at this Petro-Canada, but then I discovered that Esso around the corner has that A&W, and I think they have a better diesel.
In 500 meters, turn right onto Trans-Canada Highway.
Yeah, see these guys, it's Petro Pass, or you can go, there's a pump there. If you drop the trailer, it's a truck center inspection station. When lights flashing, nothing is flashing.
Take the next right onto Trans-Canada Highway, Ontario 11 South, signs for Iroquois Falls, North Bay. In 800 meters, your destination will be on the right.
This ramp, it's pretty tight. No, I don't want this one. I will just check what's the what the price is. $1.72, man. Son of a gun. $1.72 per liter. This is the highest. $1.72.9. This is the highest I've seen. But what do? Shall I fill up? Same here, $1.72. Last time I filled it was $1.62, so 10 cents difference, which is 20 bucks from 200 liters. Not that big of a deal. Look at all this snow over here. Yeah, I think I'll just get like 200 liters, you know, so that I don't what, this is satellite? Why would they do it like that? Yeah, that's the main pump. Okay. I better turn around because I don't plan on stopping here too long. And this thing, quite often I got stuck here. I think I got stuck here twice. My trailer is long. Yeah, this way it's better, and this way, because it's not busy, I'll just stay at the pump and go grab a A&W burger, and we should be good. $72.9. Well, the good news is that means it's less money for the government, you know, because the government will get less, right? So now there's all right, I've been driving 5 hours 15 minutes already. Can you believe this? Okay, let's put the, I think it's Husky. Husky in New Liscard. New Husky SO. I think that's the one. And it should be another 2 hours from here.
Head east toward Trans-Canada Highway, Ontario 11 South, then turn right onto Trans-Canada Highway.
Man, 214 kilometers. That would take me like 3 hours because the road is not very good. So I think I can make it to North Bay, which is 2 more hours after that. But it'd be like a 12-hour day, you know? So I don't know. But I'm going to finish the movie here. I'm going to grab, fuel and the burger. And I'm not gonna stay here long. Basically keep going. Thanks for watching.